Hey, 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 happy Tuesday with Tamika. Thank you guys so much for rocking with us as we are ending the month of May, our Mother's Day series. There has been so many good things that came out of this series. I want you guys, if you have not listened, to go all the way back to the first episode in May where I gave that brief coaching session on, really mapping out your time, because truly what you do today is going to affect your children and the people above you, the people below you, and the people across from you. We have another amazing episode to end this month, this series. And today, our episode title is You Can't Heal What You Hide. So I'm going to tell you guys already, grab your tissues, grab your tea, grab your water, grab your coffee, because this one is going to be something that really pulls on our heartstrings, that pulls on our mindset to really make us think outside the box. So often we want the healing, we want the elevation, we want the restoration, but we're not willing to uncover or uproot, like I teach my clients, the things that are causing us to continue to hurt. So we're going to do a little bit of uprooting, a little bit of revealing today. But it's all for the good. You guys know what I believe. I don't believe in having public conversations that you have not had privately. So this is going to be something to really help us just understand healing and healing as a woman, healing as a mother, healing as a sister, healing as a friend. So before we jump into this deep episode, you guys already know what it is. If you are new to Tuesday with Tamika, my name is Tamika Thomas. I am your life and relationship coach. We're here on this podcast. We believe in lifting as we climb, turning our trials into treasures, living a life to inspire and not impress, and allowing God to fully restore us. So jump on in. The tweetable moment, the shareable moment is you can't heal what you hide, and let's get it cracking. So before further ado, for our church folks, without any further ado, however we say that in church, I'm going to bring on my last guest to wrap up this series. And I got a feeling y'all gonna know this voice. Y'all gonna know who I'm talking about, who this person is immediately as she comes on. But before I bring her on, I want to remind you that this episode is brought to you by the Restored community. I want you to go over into our Facebook group, jump on over to our Facebook group and join the Restored community. We have let me tell y'all, we have some phenomenal things coming down the line. If you have not already ordered your Restored manual, y'all, I'm telling you, the testimonies are already flowing in. Yesterday, someone called me in tears, just crying about just the first couple of pages of the manual, the healing that she's already starting to feel. So you can go over to www.tuesdaywithtamika.com, join our Facebook group, and also order your Restored manual. But let's get this thing cracking. Hey, sis, you got a minute?
Hey, 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 what's up, y'all?
Hey, back in.
Hey, y'all. It's been a while. How you guys doing?
Oh my goodness, TWT fam. If you know, you know, right? So he is actually one of the founding the founding co-host of this podcast. And it's been a minute. We have been living life. Pete,
Yes,
tell the
yes.
folks, people that may be new to the podcast, we have our faithful TWT family that has been rocking with us since day one. Pete, it's been a year. It was a year in March. So we celebrated our year. And then we celebrated my 41. And then we've been celebrating mothers all month long. But what have you been up to?
Well, I at the end of 2020, I left my position that I was teaching at to move to Arkansas with my husband and to be with his family. And I've just been a stay-at-home wife. I've recently started to acquire my Arkansas credential, so that's been exciting in these last few weeks. But I've just been country living.
Country living. I saw you posted on the gram. You done traded in your Cali car and got you a big old
Yes,
truck.
big truck, big old truck. We were really excited about that. We because we wanted to be really close to my husband's family, but still have our own privacy and independence. So we decided to buy a fifth wheel, which is a huge, huge, huge RV, kind of like a mini apartment. And I miss Cali, I miss home. And so I've been telling my husband, I want a truck. So when we go visit Cali, we can just take our little house with us and stay around. As luckily for me, my husband, he works remote, so he can work from anywhere in the country. And so we really want to go visit, so we wanted to make sure we had a truck, so that way when it's time for us to go back home to Cali to visit, that we can stay and I can enjoy just as long as I need to. And so we're really excited to have the one of the biggest step in that plan purchased and acquired. And so yeah, Cali, will be seeing you hopefully sooner than later.
That's awesome. You guys don't even know how much I miss my sister. Like one thing about our family is we are very close, but we all very much like our independence and our, alone time and things like that. So it's not like we were like up each other's butt and with each other all the time, but it was nice to know, like, she was like, what were you, like 15 minutes away, if that?
Yeah, 15 minutes away, if that. I just miss, because we're never the family that's like every weekend we see each other or whatever, but we are the family like, hey, I need you to go handle this real quick. And so like not being able to like just have that close proximity, or even the events, my nephew's graduation, and all the events that I would love to be at, my niece's track meet, things like that. It's hard that I'm all the way here, but I'm still happy, from afar I could celebrate, and it's still wonderful just to see everybody grow and do all that. But I do miss being 15 minutes from my sisters, because sometimes you got to ride on somebody.
You know what
So
I'm
you gotta be close.
I love it. So P, the topic of today's podcast. So when we get together, it's a lot of giggles and laughs and a little bit of ratchetness, a little bit of holiness comes out, right? We gonna quote a scripture as we banging on you.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
But the topic is, you can't heal what you hide. So just and we have some pretty serious topics that we want to hit today. But just that opening kind of quote or thought, what is your thoughts on that?
Well, I think with the topic, you cannot heal what you hide. If you're not honest with yourself about what's ailing you, we've all had that grandparent or great uncle or something, and they always rubbing their leg, and it's like, don't you want to go look at that? The doctor. And they're like, oh, I'm fine, I just need to put some rubbing alcohol or something on it. That's not even medicine. Drink some ginger ale, even though ginger ale is medicine. Let's get that. But they never take care of it. And then by the time they get around to it, it's far gone. You know what I mean? And I think with, either your spirit man, your emotional, your social skills, like everything that you experienced in your life that may be there to heal you or hurt you. But if you don't look at the things that have hurt you, they will just fester and continue to fester and continue to and then if you suffer alone, then you won't you know, you will never be like, well, I broke my arm, I guess I'll just suffer alone and just
Yeah.
hope it for the best. If you know, if you do, maybe you're like that great uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And it will be far worse. So sometimes, you know, when you're going through things, or when you're um you know, trying to overcome different things, the power of community, and particularly to this podcast, the power of sisterhood, can really provide healing if you're willing to be honest and not hide what you really need that healing for and towards. If
No,
that
for
makes sense.
yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I have this little cut, you know, it's really small on my finger. And I did it midweek, like on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and it kills me. Like it's small, and to the naked eye, like somebody probably wouldn't even be able to see it unless I like point it out, right? But for me, it hurts. And so when I first did it, it was bleeding. So I put
Yeah.
the Band-Aid on it to stop the bleeding, but I noticed 3 days later, come on, 3 days later, he rose again. I felt that.
Amen.
But 3 days later, I realized I had to take the Band-Aid off because it wasn't healing. It wasn't, even though it appears so small. And I'm going somewhere with this, you guys. It appears so small, but because I kept it covered, it just kind of, you know what happens. Everybody knows that image of when you put a Band-Aid on something, it keeps it kind of moist. It keeps, initially, I needed it. I needed it to stop the bleeding. But once the bleeding stopped, now today I had to uncover it so it can air out, so it can
Mhm.
really properly heal, right? It
Mhm.
has to air out. And that's what happens a lot in our spiritual life, in our emotional life, and even in our physical life. We want to keep stuff covered because it's shameful, right? That bleeding, because the way I hurt my finger is like, how'd you do that, girl? Right? I was like literally putting away some cups and I scraped my finger. So if I would have hit it, if I would have continued to keep this cut hit because I'm kind of low-key ashamed of how I did it, then it would never properly heal. And that's what happens when we continue to hide and we just keep the bandages on. Now, what I'm talking about is keeping the bandages on those family secrets. So
Mhm.
that weird, we, like you said, we have the uncle or the grandpa that rubs their leg because of the ailment, but we also have the uncle, the grandpa, the auntie, the cousin that was doing some weird stuff, but we just cover it up. Not even
Yeah.
weird stuff, some inappropriate stuff, some abusive stuff. And we
Yeah.
cover it up because it's shameful. We don't want to talk about it. We also have, because this is wrapping up our Mother's Day edition, we have the mothers that are not properly there for their children, that are not doing everything that they're supposed to do. But because we lean on certain scriptures and we lean on certain, not even scriptures, but dogmas and thought patterns of honor your mother and your father, which that is law, that is truth, that is 100%, I believe that. However, and everything that is in the Bible, there is a prerequisite. And honor, when we look at honor, you absolutely honor, but that doesn't mean that you have to be in close proximity. That doesn't mean that you have to allow something to hurt you. But what happens is we continue to hide these things, and people hide their own faults or their own hurts and pains, and then so no healing
Yes.
occurs. So we're going to go a couple of different ways with this podcast. And I really hope that helps somebody, that visual of my little hurt finger. It's time to uncover. I need you guys, as you're sharing this, I need you guys to really feel that deep in your soul. Like it's time. It's time to stop hiding. It's time. The bleeding has stopped. Now let's heal. Now let's really heal. So P, I want to go a couple of different ways in this podcast. And I want to hear things from your perspective and from your just lived experience. So I want to first start talking about just motherhood and what that means to you from your own experience of having a mother. And then from your experience of not being able to be a mother. And I know that there's going to be some things that you share today that you haven't shared publicly. So I just want you to know, as your big sister, I'm holding space for you. I love you and I got you. So whichever way you want to go with this, but I believe that these are topics that we can no longer hide because there has to be some healing that takes place.
Well, first, before I begin, let me just say, with your finger analogy, what really touched me when you were speaking regarding that is if you kept that Band-Aid on and it got musty and moldy and infected, Black Twitter would eat you up. You know what I mean? Like, girl, why you keep that Band-Aid on there? Did somebody teach you something? Like, it would be foolish. You know what I mean? But it's not foolish to keep the Band-Aids on the emotional traumas. And though in the Black community, that's okay. So it just the way it mirrors it, it's funny to me how something like that finger cut would be like, girl, you need to clean that up. But then if we say, girl, you need to clean that up in your heart, your soul, your mind, it's like, mind your business. So we're gonna get in your business today, praise the Lord. TWT, we will be collecting offering at the end of this ministry.
Yes,
So be kind.
Lord.
Anyway, as far as the question that you posed, motherhood has always been something quite weird to me because I am not close to my mother. So, every Mother's Day, or our mother, every Mother's Day, when you go down to the Walgreens or whatnot to get the Mother's Day card, that's always very difficult because they are always written very eloquently. And I can't necessarily say that the words written in those cards are inspired in my reality. And so that's always been very weird because I've always had friends and other people around me that, mother has always been, a word, a noun, in high regard. And it wasn't necessarily that case for me. I left home or got invited to no longer live at my family's residence at 17. And I've been on my own ever since. And it's been a struggle to overcome so many things that I didn't even know I would have to overcome at the moment of becoming a young adult, realizing there were, things that happened financially and just being like, wow, like, for somebody to be your mother, it's just weird to understand how the juxtaposition between the noun and what everybody else is experiencing versus what your reality is. And a lot of the times as well, because someone in your life may hold this title as mother, you feel as though you need to continue the relationship that is ailing, hurting, abusing. And I've learned throughout my journey that that's not necessarily the case. I definitely believe in honoring one's mother. And if there's anything, if my own mother is ever in a bind or ever need anything from me, there is no one to be there quicker. But I don't have to continue a relationship that simply does not serve me and my worldview and my own morality, limits and boundaries. And that's okay. And through lots of therapy, I have learned that that is okay. Like that is okay.
Oh man, P, you've said so much. Like you literally have said so much. And I want to kind of dissect this just a little bit. For people listening, that maybe have strained relationships with their mothers, that have, society teaches us so much. Society teaches us so much, but it makes us feel like because this, and not only society, but in most folks' homes, especially Black folks or people of color, they've heard like, I'm your mama. So we automatically put mothers on this high pedestal, which they deserve to be. Like they deserve to be. As a mother, I feel like we deserve to be up there if you are mothering.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you had a child or children does not make you qualified to be a mother.
Mm-hmm.
And without us getting too deep, because I had a similar experience. I think I had an extra year longer than you. I left at 18,
Yeah.
and you left at 17. But I left shortly after my 18th birthday. I think like 2 or 3 months after my 18th birthday. And it's interesting because you want to there's a couple of things that I heard as you were talking. One, I don't know any person that doesn't want that relationship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so you crave it. You're like, when you see your friends, and I have a very similar experience. I was just talking to someone, and her mother died, and I was being very sympathetic, but I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't be empathetic because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know what I don't know what it feels like to have a close, like, relation. Like, I don't know how. I just don't know. So I can't empathize. I can sympathize, like, oh man, that sucks. So when I read those cards and when Mother's Day happens and different things, for me now as a mother, I can celebrate, but I've never wanted to celebrate that for someone else.
Yeah.
No, I take that back. I've always wanted to celebrate that for someone else, because I believe that was like the quote unquote normal thing to do,
Mm-hmm.
but it was never received.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the hard part when you want this, like you want this relationship, you want it. You see other people have it, and also you see your mama have it with other folks, and you like,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I hear your heart. I hear your I also hear you like honoring her,
Mm-hmm.
even in the midst of this, because we could literally be on here like, bro, sis is trash and woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
But we're deciding but what we're not gonna do is keep covering it and not heal. What we've
Yeah.
both decided to do is to heal. I
Yeah.
know for years, I would tell my kids, I didn't have a mama like you, and I did, and I had to realize that's not their problem.
Yeah.
And I need to heal from that. So I need some mothers that are out there telling their kids, you better because I didn't have a mother like me. And stop doing that to your kids. You
Yeah.
heal. You uncover what's hurting you so you can heal properly, so then you don't continue to bleed on your children. So I want you to go a little bit deeper, or if you're ready to kind of segue into the next portion, let's just go with that.
The next portion.
I mean, whatever you feeling, what you feeling?
Well, so because of my own relationship with my mother, I've always seen motherhood as something kind of afar, or like something I never really put in the forefront of my own mind. Now, luckily for me, growing up, I've had so many dynamic women, even my own sisters, and the power of the ability to break those generational curses and become awesome mothers to their children. I've had lots of just older women in my life. I've been married a few times, so each mother-in-law has been great, I must say. And so I feel as though that was always maybe a part of me that was wounded or hurt. God's covering. I'm sorry, it's just all God, because even though I had that missing puzzle piece in my life, there was always someone there to guide me, to teach me about what it means to be a woman, a good woman, a woman of God. And instilling me values that were down to our grandmother Morley Sims, and just to instill the values that I so desired. But throughout life, like a lot of women, I chose career. That was always really important to me. And although I always felt I've wanted children, just throughout the years. Husband one didn't work out, husband two didn't work out. And it wasn't until this moment where I'm not working and I am like, I don't have all of these other things, like working, especially working as a kindergarten teacher. The last thing at the end of the day you want to see is a child because we're rough. You know what I mean? And so I felt like, over my career working primary, about 10 years, that need for to be a mother, even though I would like to have a baby, it wasn't never anything where it's like right now. Because it's like that part of me was fulfilled by being an educator, and like as a kindergarten teacher or preschool teacher, or that you are those children's mother for 6 hours a day. Like there's no other way to kind of do that type of education without having that spirit of mothering. So deciding to take a break from my career and come down here to Arkansas to focus on family really changed that feeling. So that feeling went from being something that was fulfilled and, like, oh, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm fulfilled, to something that was now longing and sad. Trying to get pregnant and just not. And I think one of the hardest times recently for me was this past Mother's Day. I was late, and so I was very excited. But then I got my period the day before Mother's Day. And it was just difficult because it just made me feel like, especially as of late, like everybody's pregnant. I don't know if that happens. like what is the joke of the universe where when you are a woman who desires to be pregnant and you have infertility issues, then it seems like everyone is pregnant, down to people that you like, dang, should they be pregnant?
Like she only 13. Like,
yeah, like, Lord, like you couldn't have sent that blessing, like just curve it around, ricochet back over here. And so, and then, the friends that you really love that should be pregnant, that you are so happy for, truly, but then you are so jealous of, truly as well. And
let me just put in a reminder: you can't heal what you hide. I love how you said that, Pete. I love how you talked about the dichotomy of you're happy, but yet you're jealous, because you can't heal that area of you if you hide it and be like, nah, girl, I'm happy. And really down in your heart, you like hurting and you jealous. And oh man, that's so good. Go ahead.
And so that's been something that's been difficult, like for me to manage, is just the pure jealous, because I'm not a jealous person. Like, look at me, you guys see it. Like, why would I be jealous of anyone? Like, I'm beautiful, I'm successful. Like,
oh gosh, here she go, y'all.
Saying, y'all see it. Y'all see the blessings of the Lord.
They make it the rich and that it's no sorrow. Come on, beauty.
And so to be jealous of other women is not something that is a normal feeling for me. But it's heavy and it's deep. Because I just feel like I would be a good mother. I feel my husband would be a good father. Like I'm finally at a place in my life where I'm in a healthy, loving relationship, and it's just unfair. It's just life. And so I'm dealing with it the best that I can in therapy, even though my therapist will probably disagree, because I'm always like, yeah, we're probably not going to talk about that this session. Avoidance behavior has been big. But I think that's what why it was important to me to come and share, and stand with the women like me who have infertility issues, because it's something that is not good for me. You know, what you can't heal, what you hide.
Mm,
And so
mhm,
that's been a big, a really big, I guess, cloud in this whole move to Arkansas. And, I just was like, oh, I'm gonna take a break from my career and focus on getting pregnant, and we're gonna have our baby and it's gonna be great. And so much has been great, but there's no baby.
mm,
And, and even as we pursued, like, okay, maybe we need a little bit of help. And the insurance is like, yeah, we're not gonna pay for that, y'all tripping.
mhm,
And so it's
mhm.
kind of like, I had that hope, like, okay, even if we need help, we're gonna get help. And they're like, yeah, it costs $1 million. So uh yeah, no. And so
Yeah.
it's just really just, for me, it's just like I'm not able to stay consciously in the fight for long. And so like I stay in the fight and then I'm like, I'm done. You know what I mean? And
Mhm,
so, and then I kind of just don't think about it. I don't, and so I'm trying to work towards really, like, if this is something that I want, even though the journey is something that might be tumultuous, it's something that I need to focus on and choose
mhm,
whichever way that I choose to become a mother, whether it's, whatever, where you can do it biologically or through adoption.
mhm.
Um, but it's just something that hurts so much. It's like, like every time I touch that wound, it's like it's a wound. And so I'm just at this point just really trying to focus on accepting um just where I'm at with it all, and trying to be honest
Mhm.
with where I'm at with it all.
Well, I think it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with the cut on my finger. Like once you take the band-aid off, which is what we've done today with you speaking openly about your infertility issues. Now it's like, okay, it's there. It's there. You've accepted it. Okay, I know. And just like I said, like it hurts, right? So it's a cut that no one else can see, but you see it, you feel it. And I first and foremost want to thank you for sharing so transparently and so honestly, what you already know. That's what we do here on this podcast. And I also want to take a moment to really honor other women, because this is a struggle that a lot of women are going through. That is one of those things that we hide, because
Yeah.
it is one of those things that people make you feel shameful about. Women that get in vitro, people act like, oh, that wasn't natural, you had to, whatever. And I think that that's unfair. That's unfair and that's insensitive. And I mean, I ain't gonna get into no deepness about why infertility and all that, but all throughout the scriptures, it happened. This is not anything new. This is
Hmm.
something that women have been struggling with since the beginning of time. And I think that it is very wrong for us to be insensitive. And as you were talking, not only to women that can't bear children, but I also want to just hold space for the women that may have gotten pregnant and you feel that excitement, because I know as a mother, the moment they told me I was pregnant, the moment I missed my period, the moment I knew, like, okay, I'm pregnant, you fall in love. You fall
Hmm.
deeply in love with your child. And then for those women that were able to hold their baby for a month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, and then they miscarried, sis, we are with you and we are praying for you. And one of the things that P said is working through this stuff with therapy. People will tell you, oh, you didn't even know the baby. How does that know? And that hurts. It hurts to have known that you are carrying life and then to lose life. And I think as women, as mothers, we don't give ourselves enough space to heal because we are connectors, we are conduits. So we are constantly connecting and disconnecting, connecting and disconnecting. It's the way God created us. But in those moments of losing something with such gravity, such weight as a child, as a human, as another soul, give yourself that opportunity to heal. And one of the best ways to do it is to talk about it. You know, we
Yeah.
don't like to talk about things that hurt us, but it is so, if you had cancer, no one would make you feel shameful if you talked about how recovered and the things that you did to, get healed from cancer or whatever. But the moment we start talking about emotional hurts, hurts that you can't see, like this little cut on my finger, people tend to make us feel shamed. People tend to make us feel less than, but I'm telling you, paper cuts hurt too. So it does not matter the size of your pain. Losing a child, being able to carry a child as a woman hurts. It hurts. And it's okay that you're hurting, and let's do the proper steps for you to be able to heal in your own timing, in your
Yeah,
own time. Yeah.
definitely. It's just so funny because I remember I had posted a video on my IG, for mental health awareness, and I just shared like, I struggle with anxiety and depression, and so many people were like, "Oh, you're so honest and transparent," and I'm glad because I guess that is the point, like so people
Mhm.
feel alone. But if I said, you know, I broke my leg, or God forbid I have cancer or something like that, like people would just be like, I would still be brave, but they would be like, you have my support, but almost like they're like, oh wow, for you to share so much. And it's just like it's just a part of me. It's something that I manage through therapy because I am honest. I don't hide it. My family knows. And because my family knows, they're able to support me. They know, like, if P call, pick up because you don't know what part game.
Literally in 2 rings. I don't care what time of day it is. I'll be like, hello.
You okay? You okay? Everything okay? But because I've been so honest about where I'm at different points of my life, I've been able to have support. And
Mhm.
I didn't have to be alone in this dark place and didn't have to suffer it alone. And so I think that's the most important part, even with something as difficult as this, because bruh, it's really, really difficult. It's just the honesty allows you freedom,
Ooh, that's so good. Yeah.
so that you don't have to feel bounded by the things that ail you.
Mhm.
And so I just hope, like, what one thing I would like to say is, you know, if we can normalize and not asking married couples, when you gonna have kids? When
Stay
you
out
gonna,
of folks'
because
uterus.
you ain't paying for now one of the kids that we gonna have or not have. Two, you never know what a woman is struggling with. And every time I get that question, it's like, like you gotta smile and be polite, because if you like, fools because I can't get pregnant. So,
Yeah.
like then they'll be like, oh, TMI, you know what I mean? So really stop. Just, pray for people, but
But you know
you
what?
have to
I
have
think
that
I
patience.
feel like P, you talked about your transparency, and I feel like that truly is a superpower. And a lot of people in this planet don't have transparency. And I feel like if folks want to be that big and bold to ask you, tell them. Like, well,
Yeah,
bro, I'm on my period right now and I've been trying for X amount. So, and then they'll be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
stop asking me questions if you're not ready for the hard answers. Because I'm
yeah.
in a state in my life right now. I was on a couple of family vacations and a couple of vacations this last season of my life, and I wasn't having it. And I was upset about some things, and someone asked me if I was okay. And I was like, no. And they like did not know how to handle that information. And I'm
Yeah.
like, why do people ask you things, but then they're not ready to handle your answer? So I'm in 100% agreement with you. Stay out of folks' uterus, because you don't know what folks are going through. And this also goes to people that are like, when are you having another baby? Like, you don't know what people went through to have that baby, or to, people joke around with me and my husband all the time. And, oh, y'all need to have a baby. First of all, we got 8 too many.
Lots of babies.
First of all, let's start right there. Second of all, people don't know my last pregnancy, and they should know, because I'm very honest, how I had to bury my daughter, cremate my daughter, to be honest. They don't know the struggles that my body went through to even bring the 3 that I brought into this world here. So stay out of it. You don't know what people are going through. So chill with the dumb questions, because if you ask me a dumb question, you're gonna get an even dumber answer, and you're gonna be like, oh,
and then you go like, well, praise the Lord, and do that like, oh, someone's calling me.
I gotta go.
But it is awkward. Like, oh, when y'all gonna have kids, or when y'all gonna have a baby? Y'all need to have a baby. Like, for who?
Right.
For who and for what?
Right.
Like, stay out of my bedroom. Stay out of my uterus. Stay out of it.
Stay out of it.
Like, one thing that has been increasingly disappointing for me, especially in this age of social media, is everybody wants to pretend that they really care about a specific topic. But then in reality, like, it doesn't line up. Like, everybody, like, you go on Twitter or wherever, and they're like, if somebody loses a baby or speaks about their infertility, I stand with you, we did all the posts, but then when you gonna have a kid? But the reality is all of that behavior.
Yeah.
Or like, people really, oh yeah, mental health awareness, and oh, that's, we stand with you. But the reality is, oh, millennials take too many mental health days. They lazy. You can't have a day off. You like, toughen up. Don't cry. Don't work yourself to death. Like, and so it's just this false, like, we all live in the matrix.
Humans are trash, basically.
So I just want to take the red pill and just send me to the place where people wear Kanye clothes.
Never mind. I ain't gonna get on Kanye, but he might have something that we need.
Because those fashions, I just throw me on some of those fashions and fit right into wherever the clothes.
Oh my goodness. P, this has been, we touched on a couple of different areas that are soft spots. You talked about, when you touch that womb of infertility, there's still like that, that wince, that pain, touching on, I would love to say that I'm completely healed from my mother wound, but there are times where things come up, and I wish I could just pick up the phone and be like, hey mom, how do you do this? Or how, and I was blessed with 2 mothers that are not great, so there it is. But and there are times where it does not bother me at all, but then there are times that, oh, I touch it and it hurts a little bit, or things pop up and it hurts a little bit. And I just really want our listeners, I want the TWT family to know, 1, you are not alone. So often pain, unhealed wounds, wants us to believe that we're the only one dealing with this, because if it can isolate, it grows. Like, that is the for sure trick of the enemy. The trick of the enemy.
He's a tricky one.
He is a tricky one, and he wants to isolate you because you said earlier, there's power in community. So
Yeah.
there's so much healing that happens when we are around other people, when we talk about these things, when we take off the Band-Aid, when we stop hiding behind our pain so that we can heal. So we want you guys to know, one, we're not trying to dismiss your pain. We stand in solidarity, like we for real stand with you. We stand with you in solidarity with your pain, and tell you, you know, continue to do the work. Hashtag therapy works, go, like it works. You know, I watched a video a couple of weeks ago, and it was talking about the difference between managing your pain and like really healing. And I do believe that there is healing work that can happen through therapy or through life coaching or through these different channels. So make sure that you're choosing what channel works for you best. But then also, you know, find that community, join the Facebook group, join the Restored Facebook group, where we talk about these things openly and honestly. And it's okay. Like it's okay for you to feel exactly how you're feeling. I tell my kids all the time, you better feel them feelings and move on though, right? Like we feel them, but we don't buy in those spaces of hurt and pain. We lease them or we rent them. We feel those feelings and then we move on. We don't make them permanent residencies. And you know, we also just want you to know that we're here for you. If you need someone to talk to, you know, if you need just some questions answered, you can email us at tuesdaywithtamika@gmail.com, and we will get back to you within 24 hours with resources and different things to help you. P, I love you, and I thank you for sharing so transparently. I'm pretty sure you already know how to answer this because you've been rocking with me for, how old are you?
34.
34 years. So you have the privilege of having me in your back pocket, or you in my back pocket for the last 34 years. But you know, one of the ways that I choose to live my life is truly to live a life to inspire and not impress. So surrounding these topics that we touched today, what does that quote mean to you?
Well, I think when you are your true self, there's no one like you. Like you're my sister. There's similarities. We may look the same. We may think, you know, the same in certain ways, but we are so different. So different in so many ways. And so there's no one like you. So if you just can get to the point where you can live your life authentically, where with your successes and your failures. Yeah, I've joked, you know, it's not really a joke because I'm serious. Y'all know, y'all see it. But I joke about my vanity, but I'm also very real about my depression and anxiety. Like, this is all of me. Take it or leave it. And so when you can get to that point of life where, you know, you don't really live to try to impress anybody, but you hope through the authentic living of your daily life that you may be able to inspire that woman coming up that maybe have the same experience as you, or you may be able to encourage someone else, or you may be able to build a new relationship. I've spoken earlier about how God has always managed in all of his goodness and grace to put women in my life to fill that deficit of having a mother. And moving down here to Arkansas and getting to know my mother-in-law has probably been one of the greatest pleasures of my life, and having someone who is mothering and who, I think I haven't cried all of this podcast until this point, because it's just been so healing. And I've just been my true crazy self, which might be a little bit much for a sweet Southern belle of a lady to have this crazy Californian, tattooed and wild daughter-in-law. but and I felt kind of coming down here like, oh, like I am kind of crazy and wild, and she's so sweet and just a, Southern belle. Like, how will she take to me? But I chose I'm gonna be my authentic self, and like, yeah. And then husband number one, let me just tell you, girl, I don't want no for you finding out nothing. And just her acceptance and her love for me, and how she's done everything in her power just to make sure that I'm comfortable, in knowing how just big of a step it was for me to, leave everything that I've known in California and come down here to be with the family, and just to support me and to love me and to be there for me and to be someone I can talk to and go to when I get my period. And it's just been really nice. And it hasn't been, I haven't been trying to impress her. She hasn't been trying to impress me, but through the authentic honesty of just being ourselves, the relationship that we are building. And that's the beauty of just not living your life to impress, but to inspire. It's the relationships that you get to build and the opportunities you get to have because you are your true self.
Yeah.
And through that, people will be inspired because everyone is unique and beautiful in their own way. And so I think that's what that really means to me, and how that resonates to me at this current moment in my life.
That's beautiful. Give her a big hug for me and tell her thank you for being there for you. I love it. That was a beautiful way to end the podcast. I really want to encourage you guys, and this is not about me. This is not any clout or, for the sales or anything like that, but really go over and pick up your restored manual. Everything that P said, I have a section in there about self-acceptance. And P, honestly, this is something that you've taught me. I think being the oldest, I've had an identity where I've always been told your brothers and sisters are watching you. So there were areas of my life that I wasn't authentic. And one of Beyonce's songs, she says, my husband tells me something, and then my sister tells me like something, and I can't even think of the words right now, but that always made me think about you, because Beyonce being the oldest and her little sister having that like I don't give a care like personality and attitude. Like I always felt like that was me and you. And I have learned to accept all of me. Like on one day on IG, I might be posting some West Coast banging, and then the next day I'm gonna be posting never would have made it, and that's
Yes, Lord.
like that's me, that's all of me. And I have fully embraced the quote unquote, what people may say, ghetto or gangster or hood or whatever. Like that's me. Like I am that 100%, but I am also like so holy, and I pray probably way more than most people, and I fast and I do all those things, and I really, really ride with Jesus. Like I love the Lord, but if you touch me or mine, you're gonna get these hands, and that's just where it's at, right up.
There is a time for peace, there is a time for war. And get
Listen,
my enemies behind me and under my feet, even if I have to
listen,
touch
it's in the word. So pick up the restored manual. I'm telling you, there are healing properties. I have taken 20 years of me uncovering and no longer hiding, and I've poured it into this manual. And there's true healing that is taking place on the molecular level. So like on the cellular level, as well as the physical level, like every area of your life, we need to be healed as a people. 2020, 2021, this whole couple of years have been trying, and
Yeah.
we have all been hiding behind social media, behind certain things. It is time to heal, and you cannot heal what you are hiding. So let's get this healing. Join me in the restored community. Go over to www.tuesdaywithtamika.com. Pick up your restored manual. I have my restored program dropping July 27th. Join the community. Join the community. I'm telling you, next month we are going into restoration and a healing series, and you don't want to miss this. You don't want to miss this train. This is a prime opportunity for us to truly heal. collectively. P, I love you.
Love
I
you
thank
too.
you. You're gonna have to pop on again for us to do some of our type of podcast.
Yeah.
But I just so love you and I so appreciate you. And you always got an ear with me, and you always, I'm always here for you if you need me. It'll take me literally 2 minutes to get to Arkansas if I got to. I don't know how, but I will get there. So continue to heal, continue to be amazing, continue to be authentic. You are helping more people than you probably even know. Thank you for touching on these sensitive topics. Those of you that are dealing with mommy issues, continue to heal. Those of you that are dealing with infertility issues, continue to heal. We love you and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.